Okay, 18 part 2 left off with a little bit about the two unions that we were talking about, Knights of Labor and American Federation of Labor. I can't remember if I went all the way through them, so I'm just going to kind of go back a little bit. Starting with the Knights of Labor, founded by Uriah Stevens, led by Terrence Powderly. The Knights of Labor were the organization you could be a part of that would admit anybody, no matter if you were a skilled worker, unskilled worker, male or female, what race you were, didn't matter. They didn't like to use strikes. They wanted more regulation, wanted more of a diplomatic approach. But they will decline after the Haymarket Square riot. We'll talk about that one too a little bit. But the Haymarket Square riot, basically, because they were associated or thought of as the ones who led the Haymarket Square assembly or meeting, that because a couple of anarchists who were living in the city at the same time threw a bomb into the mix of police and killed several police officers, that was associated with the Knights of Labor, so their popularity will decline. American Federation of Labor started out as a federation or a group of craft unions, so they only admitted skilled laborers and only white males. Tried to attain more practical goals, higher wages, better working conditions. They were the more successful, at least in the long run. Molly McGuires were part of those that were used in the uprisings in the unions. Pinkerton agents were spies that were set in the workplace. Pinkerton boys, as they're known. Tools of management versus labor. You can kind of see the different things that they might use. A yellow dog contract was a contract that you would sign that basically said if you come to work here and you get a job, that you will not go on strike. So it was a way to get around those union strikes. Scabs were people that would work during a strike. They usually would be paid maybe a little extra or get some extra benefits for working during a strike. The whole point of a strike was to withhold workers so that the company would be forced to meet their demands. Pictures. Goals of the Knights of Labor. I think all of those are self-explanatory if you need to pause and look at those. A couple of different strikes, major strikes to note. The Great Railroad Strike. This one was started out as a small railroad strike, ended up spreading and shutting down. And you can see all the different strike locations on the map. And it shut down so much of the railroad, which is such a huge, vital part of the economy, as we learned earlier in the chapter, that it forced the government to take action on that one. Great Railroad Strike, just a little bit more about it. Shut down about 2/3 of the railroad activity in the country, increased to about 500,000 workers. And when it threatens the economy so much, it's going to make its way to the president. And President Hayes at that time, Rutherford B. Hayes, who came in right at the end of Reconstruction, Compromise of 1877, Bargain number 2, came in and basically put a stop to the strike. He used his executive power to do so. Well-known cartoon of labor versus big business. Haymarket Square riot, I know I kind of talked about that one a little bit, but that one was basically like a strike planning meeting or rally, and when it came time for them to to get together and everyone was in the square, and of course, police are going to be there to moderate and keep things from going out of hand. Well, anarchists were living in the city at the same time and threw a bomb in the mix of the police and were considered were hunted down after those police officers were killed. Most of them were executed for their crimes. Those are all the martyrs, policemen that remembered. These are somewhat out of place. I'm not really sure why these are here. The earlier slide was Knights of Labor goals. Here at the American Federation of Labor.